Wellsprings of Joy, Lesson 4. The Community Meeting. Over the weekend, Sawtooth begins to feel the gloom lifting. He helps his uncle and aunt at the restaurant. They talk every chance they get. He finds it easier to study and pause every so often to think about what he is reading. Sunday morning at breakfast, Aunt Claire tells him about a young man who lives in his neighborhood. His name is Min Jiao, she says. His family came here around the same time we did. He is now a college student. There is a group of youth your age with whom he meets twice a week. They study together and learn to do things together. If you want to join the group, I will make a call and introduce you to him. Sawtooth is not sure, but he agrees. That afternoon, Uncle Wen takes Sawtooth with him to a meeting. Several families have gathered to discuss the problem the neighborhood is facing. A woman a little older than Uncle Wen speaks. My husband and I have to live in this neighborhood for 27 years. We were forced to move once before when someone bought the house on our block to build a shopping center. So we were lucky and found our current home nearby. If they push us out again, we are not sure where we will go. The woman Sawtooth overheard at the restaurant speaks next. Many families have had the move to other cities where rent is cheaper. The ones that have stayed spend too much of their money on rent. Uncle Wen listens carefully to the others. Finally, he takes a turn to speak. I remember our village back in the old country. My parents were good farmers and owned their own piece of land, like most of the families around them. The land produced enough, and we were never in need then. Gradually, things changed. Around the time I was 10 years old, we had to leave the village and go to the city. I know my parents were not happy. They kept saying we were pushed out. I grew up in a city and started a family. We were doing well for a while, but then the whole place fell apart. As with many others, we ended up becoming refugees. And here we are now. It is all happening again, just as it did to the farmers in the old country. The way things are going, it seems like every inch of the land on Earth will eventually be owned by a small group of greedy people. The rest of us will need to pay to have a little bit of it to live on, to work on, and probably even to walk on. So please let us not give up this time. I am sure what we can do, but let me be united and try our best to find some way out of this problem. There must be a law that can protect us. Sawtooth is inspired by the meeting. Here are people with great difficulties, yet they are neither hopeless nor angry. They want to unite and find solutions together. Uncle Wen is so certain of the power of unity. Sawtooth thinks of himself. Divide into pairs and each one of you take a turn reading the story with your partner. Activity 2. Discuss the following questions in your group. Write down the answers in full sentences. What does Aunt Claire tell Sawtooth on Sunday morning? With what group does Minjiao meet twice a week? How does Sawtooth respond to Aunt Claire's suggestion that he joined the group? Where does Sawtooth go on Sunday afternoon? Why were the first women that spoke at the meeting and her husband forced to move before? Where do they live now? Why are many families moving to other cities? What does Uncle Wen say happened to his parents many years ago back in the old country? Why did he and his family leave the old country? What does Uncle Wen say about the way things are going? What is it about the meeting that inspires Sawtooth? What is Uncle Wen so certain about? Activity 3. Now read the exercise below and circle the answer for each. Sawtooth begins to feel the gloom lifting. This means that Sawtooth sees that the gray clouds in the sky are clearing. B. Sawtooth feels free as if he is flying. C. Sawtooth does not feel sad anymore.